cruise. She disappeared in 1998 and had recently graduated from Longwood College in 1996. She actually got a full-ride scholarship for basketball, and she was the first woman to have had that, so she was pretty good. She ended up getting a degree in physical education and then was later planning on going to get her master's degree. But during this time, she was not doing much. She had actually just gotten a little puppy. It was a French bulldog. She was going to start a new job actually the Monday after she was supposed to return home. I think she was supposed to come home on Sunday and start a new job on Monday, but then never actually made it home. So at the time of her disappearance, she was 23 years old. She was very, very, very beautiful. This was a woman who, like I said, was very athletic and very smart, obviously, and very much liked by those around her. So she was also a lifeguard, a certified lifeguard, but she did not enjoy water. I'm talking the ocean. So her father had actually gotten this cruise ship, and it was a business trip that was paid for by his job. They wanted to allow him to go and his spouse, but Ron, her father, actually wanted the kids to go, so he paid for the kids to go as well. So they stayed in the same room, but they went to Puerto Rico to board the ship on different planes, different flights. So the parents arrived first at the dock to get on the ship, and there's little like shops and stuff usually around when you enter a ship. That's what I've experienced on the cruises I've been on. I went to Mexico though, so I don't know if it's different in other countries, but she ended up arriving later with her brother after they had taken this flight, and she was very apprehensive, but ended up getting kind of happy and excited about it. So her nerves kind of whisked away, and is the fact that on these cruises, they typically take a lot of pictures of the passengers. And this would happen when you get on board. When you go to the captain's dinner, if you sit at the captain's table, or like if you want, sometimes they take pictures there. These pictures are usually held for the passengers to purchase if they'd like to. And that's just one thing I wanted to note really quick. So they head to this dinner, and it's fine. It's fancy dancy, but something creepy happens. Creepy. The waiter was kind of eyeballing Amy and being sort of just creepy with her. And the parents took note, Amy took note. This waiter actually ended up asking Amy if she wanted to go to a club off of the ship in Aruba where they were docked, and she politely declined. She did not want to do this with this random ass man, so she said no. And they just thought that was a little weird, so they go back to their rooms and get called Blue Orchid and the club was called Calypso. Earlier I said that the club was called Blue Orchid, but the band was Blue Orchid. Yellow was in the band. These are weird names, I'm sorry. So they end up hanging out all night, Amy and Yellow. Amy was spotted dancing with her and talking to her. They got this on video. There's video footage of it. I've seen it. They're like dancing and getting down, you know. So by about 2:45, Ron, their father, wants to go check on them and see how it's going and where they are because they weren't in the room. And it was kind of late, but you know, it's not unusual. It's not unusual. It's not unusual to be loved by anyone. If you know the song, you know. But it's not unusual for people to stay up late and go crazy on a cruise ship. Like it's open everything 24 hours. I remember when I went on a cruise, I went and got freaking ice cream at 3 a.m. all the time. That was when I was 10. That was everything. So it was 2:45. Dad was like, let me go check on the kids. He goes and he checks on them. They're grown adults, but he just wanted to make sure everything was okay. And sorry, there's tape on the floor. I had to move. So Dad goes and checks, and he sees Amy. She's over there. She's having fun. She's with that guy. They're talking. It's fine. Whatever. Leave them alone. She seemed to be happy. Then he sees his son, and he was fine too. He was having a blast. They were all drinking, having fun. So he says, peace out. I'm gonna go upstairs. So he goes up to his little cabin, and he goes to bed, goes to sleep. So he's hanging out. He's sleeping. Then around 3:45, the brother ends up going upstairs and going to bed. And then Amy follows up behind him about 15 minutes later. And she was fine. She was perfectly fine. They ended up going out on the balcony, which cannot be like accessed by anybody except those in the room. So they go out to this balcony and they have a smoke, and they're just talking and laughing and cutting up about, you know, the money they got from the casino and the blast they're having. And they also talked about like the jet skiing trip they were gonna go on the next day, and they were just super excited. So they were just chatting, and Ron wakes up again and notices that he saw Amy turn the bathroom light off, and he knew that, you know, the kids were still up even though it was late. And then by 5:30 he goes and he checks again on Amy, and she's not in bed, but she's on the balcony, and he only gets a glimpse of her legs. He just sees her legs and he assumes, well, she passed out. She's drunk. I'll just let her sleep. We gotta be up in 30 minutes, 1 hour. What's the point? So he just leaves her out there. And then later on, you know, he goes to wake her up, and she's gone. She's missing. Her shirt was left, and all that was taken was her cigarettes and her lighter. But her shirt remained, which I thought was kind of odd. So the dad goes, oh, well, maybe she went up on the, you know, the top deck and getting coffee. Maybe she's going for a walk or something. So he just kind of leaves it alone and just says, all right, well, I'm gonna go look for her because we gotta go soon. So he goes upstairs, up to the top deck, and he starts looking for her, and he starts to search everywhere, like everywhere up there. He can't find her anywhere on the ship. For an hour straight, he's looking for her. He comes back to the room where Amy's brother and Amy's mother were, and he is just frantic. He is freaking out. I saw an interview with Iva, her mother, and Iva said, like, his face was just, he didn't even look like him. Ron didn't look like Ron. He just looked like sheer panic and just franticness, you know. understand. And the captain goes, well, we're gonna dock here, I believe in Curacao, and you can either get off the boat, but we're gonna leave without you if you stay. I don't care that your daughter's missing, basically, So they're like, you know what? If you've looked everywhere on the ship, fine. She must be out there somewhere because you let everybody off the ship. Who knows? Someone could have smuggled her out there. So they decide to stay there and they report her missing. They try to get hold of the embassy. They get hold of the officials there. And the next morning, they get the officials involved. And by 6 a.m., they have, dogs out looking. They have the cops on the floor. They have fishing boats. They have cargo boats. They have low-flying radar airplanes looking for her. So many people were looking for her. And, of course, there was no luck. No luck, no luck. Really quick, I forgot to mention something kind of weird that happened. Yellow, the guy that was dancing with her, actually mentioned to Amy's brother, hey, I'm sorry about your sister, man. And at this time, nobody on the ship had known that there was this missing person other than the captain and the security team. So this guy was just in a band on the ship. He shouldn't have known that stuff. So that was kind of weird. That was kind of sketch. I don't know. It was a little weird. Now, with how Amy went missing, you're probably thinking, like, she probably jumped off the side of the railing or fell off because she was so intoxicated, and there's no reason for suicide in this case. Like I was saying before, this woman had so much going on in her life and she didn't need to commit suicide. This woman, as I said before, also was petrified of the ocean and, not being in control of the water, that kind of thing. And I'm not saying it's not possible that she fell off. It's just kind of, I don't know how that could really happen. I don't know. And her parents were just very forthcoming with there's no way she committed suicide or like she fell. Like it's not reasonable in their eyes. Another super sketchy thing happened also. These two girls came forward that they witnessed that man Yellow escorting Amy up to the disco. Like as everybody was getting off board, they were going up towards the disco. So the parents went forward to the captain and say, these girls said that they saw this guy take her up there. And the captain assured the parents, we searched everywhere, which I said was a lie. They didn't search every single nook and cranny like they could have, and they should have. And the parents were just pissed because they had no help from the cruise ship or the captain at all. And there was no luck with anything, as I was saying, with the search efforts in Curacao, so they ended up just getting back on the ship and going home. And when they got home, they were super frustrated. The FBI actually got a bunch of tips and didn't even follow up with them. So they found out like 8 months later that this man came to them, the parents, and he was one of the taxi drivers when they were getting dropped off at the ship to dock, where the ship was docked to get on board. He said that he witnessed, and this was like the Spanish-speaking man, but the parents said that he said he witnessed Amy getting escorted by these men, all this crazy stuff, and getting taken away. So they gave this tip to the FBI, and if FBI didn't do anything after 8 months, and the parents found out that they hadn't even followed up with this lead, and they were just furious. I'm sorry, I had an itch. They were just so mad. So they decided to like take all of this into their own hands and hire this guy who was supposedly this like find everybody guy, and was scuba diving in that area, and he actually was speaking English, to his scuba dudes, and they witnessed this woman, and the woman perked up as soon as she heard this guy speaking English, and she started to come towards him, and these two men were like flanking her, like not allowing her to go towards this man, this scuba guy. He was like washing his gear off in the fresh water, and he just got this really bad vibe, and he's like, something's wrong. So he follows the woman into this cafe where the men literally drag her into, and he gets a good look at this woman, and she points to a scar on her, like her knee or something like that, and then she also points to her Tasmanian tattoo, which is, she's pointing to things that will establish that she is her, that she's Amy. And he gets a good look, and he's like, something's up, like something's not okay, and she can't get any help. And then another tip was this lady this was 2005, this lady went on a cruise as well, and went to this department store and went to go use the restroom. And as she walked in, she noticed this woman and these men. They came in really angrily at her, and she hid in the stall. But she overheard these men saying to Amy, this is my deal. You're gonna have to do it. You better not back out. It's at 11 p.m. or something like that, like threatening her that she has to do it, and don't fuck up. And the woman's just so scared. She was worried she was gonna get raped or something. So she's hiding, and then the men leave, and this woman is just cowering over the sink and about to cry. So the woman comes out of the stall and puts her arm around her and tries to console her and says are you okay? And the woman says, my name is Amy. And the woman replies, oh, my daughter's name is Amy, all loud. And then the girl looks at her and gets all up next to her, trying to make her stop saying that. She was trying to be quiet. She whispered her name. My name is Amy, please help me. And she just freaking blew it for this lady, and she ended up just bolting out of the bathroom, the other woman, not Amy, and just flew by those guys and never saw any of them again. And this was reported, in 2005. So there's a lot of different leads. We don't know what's going on, and there's photos of her that her parents actually received anonymously from this Caribbean prostitute website where they literally sell women on there. And that photo looked identical to Amy, but the police were unable to track down any kind of IP address or anything that would help in realizing, is that Amy, is it not? We don't know. So there's all of these different things going on. If you know anybody that looks like this, these are some age progressed photos I'm gonna put here. If you've seen anybody that looks like this, make the call. This woman's been missing for so long, and it would be a blessing if she was finally able to come home. So if you could let me know if you like this video, go ahead and subscribe